hell. I woke up burning with fever, shivering uncontrollably, my skin erupting in an angry rash. The doctor said it was Lyme disease and gave me 2 weeks of antibiotics, enough to quiet it down, but not enough to kill it. The enemy dug in deep. For 25 years, I have been in some type of physical pain every day. My joints scream like they are on fire. My muscles ache constantly. My chest tightens with unexplained pain, and a thick fog settles over my mind. I forget words mid-sentence. Exhaustion pins me to the bed for days with migraines. Nerves fire sharp electric shocks down my arms and legs. Always the weight of endless fatigue is crushing me. I have tried everything to get well. Dozens of years on antibiotics, antifungals, homeopathic remedies, herbal tinctures that promised but did not deliver relief, acupuncture, diets that starved the fire, detox that felt like drowning. Some days got a little easier, but the darkness always returned. I felt like giving up, like the fight had already been lost. Many times, I just wanted the pain to end. Then I heard about Ellie Lobel. She had suffered from chronic Lyme for years, just like me, until a swarm of bees attacked her. Instead of finishing her off, those stings woke something up, and she started healing. She researched, experimented, and built a whole community of people turning to bee venom treatment. Thousands have shared stories of full remission, and lives have been reclaimed. I couldn't let the bees die for my sake because each sting costs a bee its life. So I learned about these things called gentle collectors. They have a glass plate with mild electric pulses that coaxes the bees to release their venom without harming them. 8 months ago, I started injecting bee venom under my skin 3 times a week, slowly building up tolerance as I increased the dose and the strength. Bee venom is a toxin, and it hurts. Sharp fire at the injection site, swelling, itching, headaches, diarrhea. I keep an EpiPen close in case of anaphylactic shock. Inside my body, it feels like a fierce civil war. One tiny bug started this nightmare, and now another bug's venom is storming the stronghold, breaking through the enemy's defenses, flushing out the poison that's been hiding for decades. The rough days, the aches, the detox waves are proof that the battle is being won. Die-off floods me, but I persist. Unpleasant waves prove that the tide is turning. Chronic Lyme is hell without an end in sight. Bee venom treatment is hell too. It's painful, it's demanding, it's uncertain, but it's hell with hope. I still cancel plans when flares arrive like uninvited relatives. It has been a long, grueling slugfest, but I refuse to give up. Resistance isn't about brute force. It's the spirit's quiet rebellion. This illness has been like carrying a weight, a heavy weight every day. It makes me question my life's path and my ability to even continue. I cannot deny the weight, but I must withstand it. Resistance isn't loud heroics. It's the quiet refusal to give in, even when everything hurts. It's choosing to inject fire under your skin because surrender would hurt more. I am frequently knocked down, but I continue to get up with an unyielding determination. May we all fight back against despair and keep searching, keep reaching for the steps to elevate ourselves beyond our life's circumstances. Slowly, my energy is actually returning, and the bone-deep exhaustion is starting to lift. And for the first time in years, I can taste real hope. Let's remain seated now and open our gray hymnals to number 108 as we sing together, My Life Flows On.
Makes sense. Happens mostly in two ways: by acquired immunity and adaptation. Acquired immunity occurs when the immune system of an individual recognizes a toxin in the system and responds by producing antibodies to neutralize it. A vaccine is a harmless form of a toxin that basically trains the immune system to make the antibodies that will conquer the harmful form of the toxin, or a virus if it is later introduced into the body. Metabolic adaptation is when the liver adapts by increasing the production of specific enzymes that metabolize, really destroy specific toxins. Even those are harmless forms of viruses, and even if those are the harmless forms of viruses and vaccines. But then there's also evolutionary adaptation, when genetics of a species change from generation to generation to adapt to viruses in the atmosphere or to toxins that get produced by predators. So in a nutshell, resistance can work for us by making us insusceptible to the effects of a virus, or resistance can work against us by making us insusceptible to the effects of the cure. Of course, what makes all of this so complicated is that all of our bodies are different, right? Some people could die if they eat a shrimp or get stung by a bee, while those two things have little or no effect on most people. I know how toxic bee venom can be. When I was 22, I almost died when a bee stung me in the arm, and my face and tongue swelled up so that I started turning blue. And even though I only had that kind of reaction one time, I'm still a little afraid of bees. But really, I find some things about them fascinating. Like, aerodynamically, they're a mess. Like, they should not be able to fly. And bees sting through their ovipositors. Ovipositors are tubular organs, kind of like hypodermic needles, which they use to deposit their microscopic eggs one at a time into the honeycomb cells of their nests. And they've evolved such that their reproductive organs are defense mechanisms that allow females to resist attacks from creatures thousands or even millions of times their size. They're small but mighty. Terror in a tiny package. And they have the ability to change the chemistry of a body that isn't even their own. And that chemistry can even be used to heal. I mean, this is fascinating to me. And here's a left turn. Have you seen Pluribus? Seriously, everybody's talking about it. It's a series that's streaming on Apple TV. Joe and I watched all 9 episodes in 3 days over the holiday break when we were both tired and not feeling well, having both contracted a bug. Let me describe the first 15 minutes to you. Astronomers receive a Morse code-like message from a distant planet 6 million light years away. And the code turns out to be an RNA sequence that they produce in a lab and introduce into mice, one of which bites a careless lab technician. She convulses a bit, but then she recovers. And then she seems content, oddly content, and then sets out to intentionally infect everyone in the lab. Each in turn convulses the way that she did, and then recovers, and they silently join her mission. They all function quietly. They don't communicate at all. It's like they share one brain. And in very little time, culminating in one fast and amazing evening, the whole world is affected with this new RNA. About 886 million people die in the process, and 13 individuals, 13 people in locations all over the world are unaffected. Those who are affected, or as they say, those who have joined, they kind of share one mind. A hive mind, to use the parlance of the internet. 7.4 billion remaining people literally have access to one another's wisdom, experience, and memories. Everyone knows everything that everyone else knows in real time. So like Betsy's sitting there, yeah, right. Like I would be having that exact same feeling now if we had joined. Just kind of wild. So 10-year-olds can fly 747s or perform brain surgery. They don't have to use phones or internet or AI or anything. All they have to do is think about something, and everyone else in the world knows about it, and it's done, or it gets done. Imagine a world where nobody ever complains again about terrible communication. Each person who's joined refers to themselves singularly as we, because nobody speaks for themselves. They speak for everyone. They are everyone. There's no he or she or they or even I. Only we. If one of the joined humans is speaking about the physicality of the body they occupy, they say, this individual, the way Marines in boot camp refer to themselves as this recruit. The many have become one. And so there are no more misunderstandings, no more hurt feelings, just compassion, empathy in its deepest and broadest form, which looks an awful lot like bliss. Quiet bliss, but bliss nonetheless. And they have so much compassion for the 13 unaffected people that they immediately begin trying to figure out how to make it so that these 13 resistant people can join. They want to share their wisdom and their contentment, their bliss. And one person, the one and only American white person whose name is Carol, not Karen, she resists mightily. Nothing will make her join against her will. She is determined that nothing will change her. And her rage against all those others is what drives her. She is, quite literally, the angriest person on earth. I mean, imagine. The thing that's fascinating about this, I don't want to give too much of it away, but of the 13 people, 11 of them want to join. And one she can't contact. It's her against 7.8 billion people. And sometimes I feel like the world, especially here in the US, has broken into two roughly equal camps that hate each other. It's easy to label them as Republican and Democrat, conservative and liberal, maybe even communitarian and libertarian. I keep going back to George Lakoff, who almost 30 years ago in his book Moral Politics described described the divide as strict father versus nurturant parent. That's the description that still makes sense to me. And while I can't perfectly name the divide, I can say that a lot of times it feels like we've been infected by two separate RNA streams that have made us into two separate hive minds with wildly different perceptions of the same circumstances. Renee Nicole Good was a mother and poet murdered by political extremists drunk with the power of an authoritarian leader. Or she was a radical left terrorist who died in the commission of attempted murder of an innocent patriot and public servant. The thing is, I know that it isn't true. I know that each group doesn't share one brain. It just feels like that. Each group has fractures. I mean, Marjorie Taylor Greene has abandoned Trump. Congresspeople from both sides of the aisle are announcing they won't seek election because of the gridlock created by the unyielding extremists on both sides. I know these are people who can hold both truths, see the nuances in every experience, see how we are all creating this dynamic of division, even though we don't want to. The narrative that there are two distinct, different sides pervades because in this time of massive cultural changes and late capitalism with its extreme inequality, globalization, financial instability, authoritarianism can be seen as the thing that will save us all, the strict father, or the thing that will enslave all of us. It's so hard to find a third way. And so we end up in our echo chambers, our hive mind, often becoming more and more allergic to differences of opinion, no matter how small those differences are. It's a kind of infection of relationships that could end up killing us in the form of a civil war or a world war. And nothing is going to change unless we make an effort to change it, right? We know this. And we know that it has to start with ourselves. Each one of us can stay in our echo chamber, a hive full of like-minded individuals, or we can engage in some tiny civil wars, the kind that can benefit us, like the one going on inside Kerri's body. I'm talking about having difficult conversations with people in our own hives. Conversations where we challenge each other to do better, to see different perspectives. And within our own hives, we often avoid difficult topics, no matter how important, because the stakes of conflict feel so huge. After all, these are the people we don't want to lose. These are the people we don't want to turn away from. So it's easy to avoid those conflicts in our own hives until they grow and fester and burst out. It's not working. In our effort to avoid the pain of tough conversations, we're rebuilding war zones and pushing out the people who should be alongside us. Our family, our friends, our neighbors. And the body of the nation is taking a hit. I think we need to stay. We need to have the difficult conversations. Even when it hurts. We need to each suffer the little stings of feeling unseen, unheard, or unappreciated, and really be present through the pain and discomfort of it all, so that we can be stronger. The small grievances we work out together, rather than avoiding them, will help us rebuild resistance to the hive mind in order to increase the capacities of our individual minds. I guess another way to look at it, another metaphor is the heart. When the heart gets broken, it heals stronger, physically and metaphorically. The small heartaches, when tended to with care by the imperfect people who love us, the very people who may have caused the heartache in the first place, will heal stronger. It means staying put, engaging, valuing relationships among our friends, families, communities, congregations, even the whole country. I know that when we are in the midst of it, when we are trying to preserve the social structures and traditions that we built ourselves, when we're trying to find a safe space for our children to grow up, when we're trying to surround ourselves with people that we can trust, the little disputes don't seem so little, but they are little. Compared to someone who wants us dead, who wants you dead because they think you're a terrorist, the person who loves you but is deeply uncomfortable with your nuanced, postmodern understanding of white supremacy, or the person who loves you but is hurt by your resistance to change, really, those are small differences compared to people who think you're stupid, evil, and selfish and want you gone. As imperfect as we are, as much as we may be struggling to heal our wounds, we hurt the ones we love because we don't have full access to others' thoughts, feelings, experiences, and wisdom like the people who've joined. We all get stung, we all absorb little bits of toxins from others, and we all hurt each other unintentionally sometimes, using our ovipositors defensively when maybe we shouldn't be. It happens, we do it. The challenge is to build resistance to the stings, to grow stronger, and try to use our tools for creation instead of destruction. Like Kerri with a little civil war in her body, building her resistance, her strength, I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful that every time one of us stays in relationship after getting stung, we have a little more resistance and we feel a little bit stronger for the big fights that really matter. The issues that demand our presence. You know what gives me hope right now? After weeks of masked, unbadged, untrained ICE agents harassing, assaulting, and shooting citizens in Minnesota, that place could be a powder keg right now. But what I'm hearing from my colleagues on the ground, people like Reverend Ashley Horan, is that the protests aren't that. They aren't powder kegs. They're calm, level-headed. They're focused on the mission and the community. Because no matter how much they're getting stung, they keep showing up with each other. They're focused. May we all be that focused. Please rise now as you're willing and able, and open your hymnal to number 118, This Little Light of Mine.
The words of Palestinian Mossab Abu Toha, written while Gaza was under siege. We keep flying, even when the flowers are gone. We keep stinging, even when the hand is our own.